Well, but to the point of organizing and energy, at least this is my opinion, I see the leadership of, the Democratic Party. I see, a lot of people talking about policy. And then you see new faces like Zohran Mamdani, who obviously has struck a very clear chord with, at the very least, the population of New York who voted him in. But I think really across the country, people appreciate the fact that he is not shy to say how expensive it is to live in New York and in general.
Yeah.
But then you see parts of the party who are still refusing to embrace him and trying to keep him at arm's length. What is your opinion on that and just how we proceed as a supposed wide tent party?
I think Mamdani is a very interesting example. So when it comes to the party, I think that there's party leadership and then there's the voters, right? Like Democratic voters. And when it comes to Zohran Mamdani, Democratic voters in New York, they overwhelmingly voted for him, but the subset of Democrats that he still has some work to do with is black voters in New York, right? Which are a base of the Democratic Party apparatus. And you've got a lot of older black voters who are like, I don't know about Mamdani, but I was with Cuomo, which is a whole nother conversation, in my opinion, on its own. Because they know him. They don't know Zohran, but they know Cuomo. And there is something about the electorate, and there's something to be said about relationship. And when you are not in relationship with someone, how that correlates to how you vote. And I think that's something people need to understand and explore, and it'll make sense as we go into the midterm elections and then potentially to the next presidential. When it comes to Democratic leadership, I don't understand the rationale that people in New York are using for not supporting their Democratic nominee. I just don't. If I was a New York strategist, if you will, and Cuomo won the primary, I would be like, I'm not working for Cuomo, and I'm not because of how he got to be running for this job in the first place. I just don't think that's a situation with Zohran. So I don't understand why this insatiable need for Democratic leadership, particularly as it relates to in New York or elected officials and even some strategists, to not just fully embrace their nominee. I think that it is I really just think it's a failed strategy because it leaves you talking about your division out in the open. Every time at this point that, I wouldn't say every time, but I would say out of 7 of the 10 interviews, last 10 interviews, Leader Jeffries has done, he's asked about his lack of support for Zohran Mamdani. And his answer is always one that's like, oh, Lord, what is going on here?
It goes viral every time.
Yeah, every single time, and that's not good. It takes me back to what I call the very public, the stabbing from the front of Joe Biden in the primary. Regardless of what you felt about if he should be running or not, I do not think it did Democratic voters a service to have that fight with their Democratic nominee and party leadership and elected officials out in the open. And I would argue that my argument was vindicated when a number of people stayed home in this last election. So I don't understand what people think they're going to get out of maybe publicly attacking Zohran Mamdani or feeling like he hasn't really hit the bar yet, when the goal, when I worked campaigns, the goal was always to win elections. Okay, so if you're the strategist, if you're the elected official, the goal should be to win the election. The goal, I know, is not you want the Silwa man to be, if you're a Democrat, to be the mayor of New York.
You're wearing that hat.
Yeah. or do you want to split the vote and so much that Cuomo comes in and wins a race that he probably shouldn't have any business winning. Yeah. So I hope Democrats in New York get it together sooner than later, because they are, I think, missing the forest for one tree.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of The People's Cabinet. If you did, please like, subscribe, ring that bell, and put in the comments below who else you'd like to see sworn in. And stay tuned for new episodes every Tuesday. Let's go.